Hey everybody, this is the Landslide XTE from Redcat Racing. It's their 1/8 scale four-wheel drive monster truck. Let's dig in and take a closer look. Alright, so the first thing you notice when you take it out of the box, you got this really dark blue body followed by this lighter metallic blue. Really looks sharp in the sun, pops really well, and you do have these ghost flames that kind of run from the front to the back of the body. Really nice presentation from Redcat. So let's take a closer look inside. So what you got here is you've got a 20-inch long truck with a 13-inch wheelbase. It's about 10 inches tall overall with a 2 1/4 inch ground clearance. So you flip it upside down, and what you've got here is a 3mm 6061 aluminum chassis. Really nice base for all the components. It's going to be strong, it's going to be durable, and then that also has these plastic side guards, which is to help prevent from some dirt and debris from coming into the chassis. Okay, so once you start digging in here, you'll notice how it's set up here. We've got this center differential which drives the four-wheel drive system, and connected to that is that 550 brushless motor. Really nice large heat sink here to keep things cool. On either side of that, we've got the batteries flanking that center differential, and in this case I've got the 6500 milliamp MAXAMPS 2S batteries, 7.4 volt batteries. Do a really nice job powering this truck. I've run a lot of packs through this truck, or a lot of charges through this truck, and these packs really do a nice job with this thing. Okay, in front of that differential you've got the ESC and the receiver. This is it's an 80 amp ESC, and it does say that it's waterproof, but I'll get into that just a little bit more later. And then you've got the receiver here. The other thing that you notice here is the shocks. Okay, you've got these really nice large, what I would expect on a 1/8 scale truck, large big bore aluminum cap shocks. They're fully adjustable, they're a coilover. And what's interesting about Redcat Racing, what they do here is they allow for interchangeable parts. So if you do break a suspension component, anything in this area here, you don't have to buy a right or a left or a front or a rear. You can buy the package and you can save the extra parts. You don't have to wait for that side to break more before you can use the rest of the components. If something else breaks on the rest of the truck, you can pull from those components, and it makes it very cost effective if and when things do break. Okay, so controlling the Landslide, we've got this ready to run receiver. You see it in all the Redcat vehicles. It's it's light, it's small. It has everything inside this cover that you need to adjust the truck. So you've got steering trim, throttle trim, steering dual rate, throttle reverse and steering reverse with the bind button and the on-off switch. I'm not a big fan of this cover. Sometimes it sticks when it's open, so if you're trying to do on-the-fly adjustments, it's not always the easiest thing to deal with. But it does protect against dust, dirt, debris, water. It'll protect. It's not waterproof, but it you know, if it's raining or whatever, it'll protect it. I do find the steering spring to be a little bit bouncy, and it's really light. So I prefer a little heavier spring. And then same thing with the throttle trigger. It's got a really light spring, so I prefer a little heavier of a pull on my spring. And the other thing is, if your hand is a little bit bigger, you may have a little bit trouble getting your finger into that throttle trigger. So with my hands it works pretty well. With my son's it works really well. And again, it's small, it's light, and I do prefer that in a transmitter. It's balanced really well. Range is good. I didn't have any range issues for the driving that I've done, and I've done a lot with this thing. So range is pretty good on it as well. So that's basically it for now. Let's get out and drive, take a closer look. Okay, everybody, so I'm back. What did you think? Definitely stunt truck territory, right? Really cool. There's a lot of things you can do with this, a lot of fun that you can have, whether it's backyard or playing around in the dirt, gravel, sand, you name it. This thing, it's going to be a lot of fun for you. But there's a couple things that we should probably talk about. The first thing is it really waterproof? It says waterproof right on that ESC. I've not had any troubles with that ESC, but I did have some troubles with that receiver. It says right here on the box, waterproof electronics. That to me says there's nothing you can't do. But I started digging online a little bit, and it says you shouldn't submerge this in water. Okay, well, you might say, well, that kind of goes without saying. But does it? If I'm messing around in puddles, if I'm messing around in snow, is the receiver going to be able to hold up to that? And the answer is no. And I know that because this is the receiver that came out of it, and it's done. The other thing that kind of happened when I was puddle jumping is, and I was in gravel, and it was a pretty good puddle, but under acceleration I ended up ripping one of the wheels or tires. Foam came flying out, and so I don't know if I got it waterlogged, if water leaked in here. It does have some vents. So if water got in there and soaked up that foam got too heavy as it was rotating, it started to do a wheelie. The tire started to expand, and I think it was just too much force for that foam to take, and it ended up ripping the wheel. And I did that on both wheels. I didn't see this one at first, but as I was inspecting both wheels, and these were both the front wheels that did this. Never had any issues with the back wheels, but the front wheels definitely, I blew them out. So they might have gotten cut by a rock or something like that. I don't really know, but I've never had that happen before. The connections here, they're starting to wear because of this heat sink, and I'm going to have to re-tape these, or I'm going to have to put some heat shrink tubing on these to make sure that they don't wear all the way through. The other thing is these leads are really, really long. So short of cutting them and resoldering them, all I've done is I've tied them into the strap here, the Velcro strap, and that makes sure that these can't go anywhere. I did have some issue where at first where these were starting to rub on the wheels and they were coming outside of the body. So by doing this, it secures them nice and tight, and I don't have to worry about that anymore. So again, just a heads up kind of a thing for that. So that's it. That's the good, the bad, the ugly, and you know, overall, I really enjoy this truck. It's a fun truck to drive. It definitely gets attention, especially when those wheels spool up. Puts a smile on your face, and that ultimately is what RC is about. Now this thing retails for $3.99. However, if you start looking online, I found it as cheap as $2.99 online, and you might even find it, you know, better than that. But that's you can find it pretty easily for $299, which I think is a pretty fair value. You combine that with some good quality batteries, and I've yet to break any of the components. I was a little careless with the waterproof electronics. I kind of took that for granted and tested the limits on that. And then just the wheel here. But as far as the components of the truck, as much as I've put this thing through, nothing has broken yet, and I'm really thankful for that. So this is it's a durable truck. You've got great bumper guards on there. It's going to last you a long time. So if you're looking for the four-wheel drive 1/8 scale, I wouldn't hesitate to have you look at this one for sure. So enjoy. We'll see you next time.